Hey, sweeties. How are you? Before that finally unmute. I was just waiting for that song to finish, and it took a little bit of time. There we go. And we load up the game. There we go. How all are you today, sweeties? Let's see. Oh shit. Whatever that was, that made me jump. Thank you, Twiggy, for continuing the subscription. I hope you feel better. Love you, Snick Mummy. I love you too, sweetie. Welcome to the stream. Thank you, sweetie. Nice to see you again, sweetie. Not the best right now. How about you? Oh, sweetie, I wish I could give you a hug. Oh, thank you. Exilix, I think, for the lurk. Oh, it's so nice to see all of you sweeties here again. Let me know if the music's too loud or too quiet, just so I can make sure I get a good balance. So, Mummy thought she'd play this a little bit tipsy. I got a bottle of, let's have a look, 37% next to me. So, let's see how this goes. Cheers. Oh, Cyrus. Okay. Awesome. Oh shit, yeah, I forgot about the giggle counter. We'll start it on 2. Okay, shall we get into the game then? Right. Thank you, Cyrus, for the follow. Let's get started, sweeties. And I would not want them to inherit my shame and guilt, which I have been for so long. That is all I ask. The rest of the funds may be given to my immediate family, but this dark secret shall stay away from them forever. And so the ship will not be passed on to them. Jonathan L. Equinox. Hey, your masters, welcome to the stream, sweetie. The last few pages are all legal details concerning GG Inc. At the very bottom of the last page is unmistakably my father's signature. However, just below the signature is a side box, also written in my father's handwriting. It states that after a brief meeting with the deceased relatives, all assets of the deceased will in fact go to the immediate family. In other words, it was a signed agreement that violated the old captain's will. Was this really my father's doing? I suppose at this point I shouldn't put it past him. This is... Did I find something interesting? I think so. We'll have to show this to Butler. There's definitely a connection. I just don't know what. That's for Butler to figure out. Right. She's got such an evil look. Oh. Fuck. Freak. Oh. Ooh. Thank you, Copelia. Copelia? I want to say Copelia, but I think that's wrong. But thank you for the follow, sweetie. Welcome to Mummy's little den. Shit. 4. Upon returning to the captain's room, Cecilia and I find the others standing right where we left them. Our trip to the engine room had taken a little under an hour, but it seems the others found a few things to do in the meantime. Go fish. Butler and Blythe are sitting on the floor, appearing to be locked in a game of cards, while Howard tries to console Eliza once again. I'm glad I got your name right, sweetie. Meanwhile, Captain Jack and Donald are frantically mashing keys on the control system. It's no use! Damn it! There's really nothing we can do.
Oi! Still not fixed.
We turned on the backup generator. No, not that. The electricity is running fine, and the ship will definitely make it back to land. However, during that blackout, we lost the data on our cameras. Something went wrong and we can't get it back. The captain pounds his fists onto the control desk, which does nothing to the static field screens above. Oh, Donald. Good work, Jack! Now we're back to square one. Even if Butler couldn't have solved the case, we could always rely on the video.
But now we can't. It's all gone.
Was this the culprits doing? Is it possible they've killed again? What? Dad's dying message. SOS. It's just an interpretation, but considering the generator was sabotaged, and the video as well, maybe the culprit intends to kill even more people. Don't worry about that. I've dispatched my bodyguards all around the ship. If anyone ends up dead, they'll be the first to hear about it, and then notify me via headset. Those guys do look like they could handle it. There haven't been any reports of another death yet, have there? As far as I know, none. The culprit doesn't have much time if they want to kill again. We're almost back on shore.
Good to hear. Anyway, Gillian, let's go outside for a moment.
Butler stands up, pulling me aside, so that he could talk to me in private.
Yeah, the voices are pretty fun to do, especially when I'm giving most of the male characters feminine voices. It's pretty funny. Did you find anything in that room?
Possibly. Take a look. I showed him the photograph and a piece of paper.
Oh boy, what do we have here? Is this a contract or something?
That's definitely the logo of GG Inc. There's no mistaking it.
It's kind of long to read. I don't feel like looking over it.
What am I supposed to summarise it for you or something?
Be my guest.
I do my best to explain the contents of the contract to Butler. Guess I shouldn't have expected any better from him.
I see. So it's basically a confession from Jack's grandfather.
And a connection between him and your father's company. Should we ask about it?
That's a horrible idea. He's got something he wants to keep hidden.
Why should we bring it up to his face? Well, I dunno.
You're a horrible detective. That's why I'm in charge of these things.
Oh shit.
That's a lot of redeems at once.
Right. Since I'm actually in a chair on a desk for a change, I'll do a posture check instead of a stretch. Hydrated, posture checked, and a head pat. Give me a second. Let's see. It's called... Give me a second to find out what I called it. Okay. Add. Existing. Let me find the head pat. This is like super professional, I'm telling you. There we go, head pat. Hey, you're so welcome to the stream. Am I at least a good Watson? I'm alright, thanks. How are you, sweetie? Yes. I'll give you that. Yes, very pro streamer. I know, right? I'll give you that. You find clues and bring them to me, like a good assistant. But I'll call you more of a Hastings than a Watson. Hastings? What, you don't know that guy? No, I really don't. Casual. Oh, nice. What kind of commission is it, sweetie? Shortly after, Butler and I returned to the room. It seems as though nothing important has happened. What was all that about? Nothing. We're still at a loss for real evidence. That's no good. We'll just have to rely on the police after all. What else can they do? Of all the people here on this cruise ship, what could they do to find the killer? You mean once the cruise is over, right? Ooh. Ooh. I'm actually kind of excited to see what those emotes are going to look like. Yes, sweetie, Mummy can come cuddle you. Yeah. What'll happen once the police find out that the bad guy already went into hiding? I mean, that's what any sensible culprit would do. True. Being unable to pinpoint the killer right now means they'll inevitably get away. What do you mean, sweetie? How do you want some more, Mummy? You want Mummy to tell you how good you've been? Or maybe you've been naughty? Oh, what do you mean? Sorry, sweetie. You're gonna have to tell me a little bit better than that. It can't be helped. Without evidence, we can't get anywhere. And then the culprit will get away. Anyway, I've been waiting for Gillian to get back so I could bring this up. The mummy voice gets me. Does it get to you, sweetie? Do you want Mummy to tell you how good you've been, Drago? Just tease you all very much. Oh, I see that redeem that just popped up. Hada hada. Hada hada. My naughty little labby. Hey Tony, welcome to the stream. And one more. Hada hada. Labby. Welcome to the stream, sweetie. Oh, it's so easy to tease you all. Labby, I saw that redeem, sweetie. You've been a very, very naughty boy for Mummy. Mummy's gonna have to punish you later. Can't believe how naughty you've got on your main account. Shaking my head, sweetie. Shaking my head. Not gonna lie, I'm having a Lady Demetrius vibe. You want Mummy to punish you? That sounds like I'd be rewarding you if that's what you want. Maybe my punishment is I'll do nothing. Let you suffer just a little bit, sweetie. Anyway, I've been waiting for Gillian to get back so I could bring this up. I overheard Eliza saying something about a company meeting held late last night. Oh, that's right. You and Gillian weren't there. I suppose that means you've been missing a lot of the picture there. Tell me everything. I can't believe the three of you held something this important from us. I don't even know why he called the whole group. We partied for a while, but the fun and games ended rather abruptly. So this was a serious meeting, huh? Yes. Since Gillian talked to him about it last night, he wanted to address it right away. The succession of the company. Because of me? What did he say? He said that he trusted me, and for that reason I should be the next CEO. Even when we voiced our objections, he didn't listen. I don't get why he picked her. The only one objecting was you. Right, Howard? I would still say that was a hasty decision on Galvano's part, but who am I to tell him otherwise? If anyone could have gotten through to him, it would have been you. Hey, calm down. Anything else happen, or was that it? Unfortunately, nothing else. Seriously, why do you keep acting like he made a mistake? Because I think he did. Come on. He says it's because he trusted you, but I think we all know the real reason. Ooh. When Galvano went missing, Eliza constantly explained, yeah, you're a cute little boy for Mummy when you blush, sweetie. I giggled. Eliza constantly exclaimed how worried she was about him. When he was found dead, she was the most upset other than myself. In fact, she entered such a rage that she was willing to accuse me of killing my own father, even ignoring Eliza's reactions to Galvano's death. She had always seemed unusually cheerful around him. Anyone could have guessed that they were good friends at the very least. I don't see anything wrong with what he said. All I'm suggesting is he trusted you a little too much. We live in a world where altruism is rare to come by. Considering my father was just murdered and he owned a lot of assets prior to his death, it wouldn't be strange at all for a greedy employee to have killed him. Eliza could have emotionally manipulated him into showing a weakness. And the moment he did, she took advantage of the opening and killed him. I did no such thing. I tried my best to support him when he needed me, that's all. I just got caught up in everything and... Eliza falls to her knees, sobbing through her hands. Galvano was the one who approached me. It isn't my fault, because I tried my best to save him. What's not your fault? You're talking about his death? Yes. I tried so hard to save him because he came to me and asked me for help. When I started working there, it was just like I was like any of his other employees. Why he picked me? I still don't know. But he did. He'd always give me more attention than my co-workers, inviting me out to lunch or giving me extra breaks each day. I thought he was a nice enough guy, so I complied, but he wanted help, and I didn't know how to offer it. He wanted to escape the cold black void of loneliness and isolation that buried him years ago. He carried too much feelings of guilt and regret on his shoulders. If he had only done something back then, taking another choice, but it's not like you get do-overs in real life. And so he told me about his loss of hope. He told me about you, Gillian, and how he felt so bad about ruining what was once a perfect family. He didn't know what to do because you had built up a wall of resentment against him. He wanted to see his wife again and apologise to her, but he knew that wasn't possible. What else was he supposed to do but come crawling to someone for help? For whatever reason, I sympathised with him. He was charismatic, brilliant, and wealthy. What else could I have asked for? But he carries his past with him, and I could see it hurting him every day. So I took it upon myself to make him happy. Every day I told him to look at what an amazing job he's been doing with his company, and then one day he'd be able to pass it on to his son. And when that happens, they could be reunited again. He probably looked forward to that day, and that day should have been today. Instead, things went wrong, and he was killed. So that's why he was so proud of it. It's hard to describe how terrible I felt right now. Hey, Wales, welcome to the stream, sweetie. He wanted us to get over our problems and live happily together. He thought GG Inc. was the solution. He was so scared when the company was going downhill, he really didn't know what to do. I see. So the company's near-death experience shook my father quite a bit. When we talked about it in the last meeting last night, he said it gave him a realisation. It made him want to change, but now he's... Eliza. I'll say this. I have a hunch, but I need more information. Yeah, like what? I'll be needing all of your alibis again, but this time for last night. And don't leave out any details. Got it? Let's see. Who do we want to go with? I'll let someone else choose for a change. What I want to test. Who should we go for? I don't trust. I don't know. Let's go with a chef. Earlier. Yeah, let's try the chef guy. Yeah, you went. Didn't we give him a really high-pitched girly voice? We did, didn't we? Well, in the earlier parts of the day, I was preparing the dining hall for its grand reopening. I was also busy in the kitchen preparing your dinner, making sure we had all the ingredients before departing and so on. When the time finally came, I served Galvano's group their dinner. I also happened to serve Butler, who said he was doing a review of the maiden voyage. Naturally, I asked him to give a review on the food, and he couldn't resist. Anyway, the dinner itself went smoothly. I remained in the dining hall from maybe 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. We don't really keep it open late. That's what the bar is for. Once the restaurant closed down, I made sure everything was put away and the area cleaned up. So probably around 10:30, I went to the captain's room and turned in my set of keys. I'm getting too old to stay up so late, so I went to my room on the first deck, locked the door from the inside and went to sleep before 11. That way I'd get enough rest for the next day. Okay. After we settled in our rooms yesterday afternoon, I went to the bar with Galvano. We had some drinks and walked around the ship. Eventually it was time for dinner, and Galvano told me to wait with the others in the hallway. That's when Gillian met up with us, and we all went to dinner. After that, I decided to go to the sauna for a few hours. I returned to my room, and at around 9:30, Galvano knocked on my door. He said he wanted to talk to all of us. Blythe and Howard came with us to the game room where we had some fun playing cards. There were also some slot machines and other gambling games, but I'm no good at those, so I didn't play. After that, our group went to the gift shop. Galvano brought us this really cute stuffed alpaca. I really liked it. Finally, we all went inside my room to discuss the company meeting. It was just before midnight, I think. Once we finished the meeting, the three left, and I went to bed. Oh, Drago. That's a very easy answer for Mummy. Mummy thinks you're a very, very naughty boy. Always wanting some cuddles and hugs. You want me to whisper in your ear? You want me to tease you, sweetie? That'd be so easy to do. Naughty. Naughty Drago. It's so easy to tease you. Oh, look at you blush, sweetie. Adorable. Let's see. Well, I didn't do much yesterday afternoon. Oh, I didn't do well, you see. Well, I didn't do much yesterday afternoon. I had a good look around the ship, finally deciding to sit down in the lounge and read my book. When it was time for us to meet up, I returned to the hallway and saw Blythe and Eliza in their conversation. Gillian soon met up with us and we all ate dinner. It was really good. Anyway, I decided to go to the bar where Galvano found me. We had a couple of drinks together. He talked to me for a bit and I suggested we have some fun as a group, so we rounded up the others. We went to the games room for a few hours and then bought some things at the gift shop afterwards. Unfortunately, the pocket watch I bought fell and I accidentally stepped on it during the meeting. After unpacking my things, I stayed in my room for an hour or so. Then I walked around the ship and found the game room. I spent most of my time until dinner. I returned to the 5th deck's hallway to meet up with the others. After dinner, I was feeling a bit tired, so I went back to my room and watched some television. Around 9:30, Galvano knocked on the door. He had departed to the games room at my suggestion. I think we all had a fun time, but you're probably not interested in hearing that. We then decided to check out the gift shop. It turns out that they had a super rare deck, and I instantly bought it. Who would have thought this cruise ship had such good taste? But not least, Galvano gathered us all in Eliza's room to tell us she'd become the next CEO. Howard and I left. I think Galvano stayed a bit longer, and I went directly back to my room to sleep. Her story's not matching everyone else's. I was in the captain's room most of the day. Around 5 p.m, Galvano showed up in my office. We had a friendly chat and then went to the 5th deck to gather the officers. I showed them all to the VIP section of the dining hall, and I believe Donald took over from there. As for myself, I patrolled around the decks for a while to ensure everything was going alright. Around 9 p.m, I returned to my room. I determined that nothing was out of place during my patrol, but as cautionary procedure, I asked my guard to continue looking out for anything suspicious. As I previously mentioned, the other employees are required to return their keys to the captain's room before sleeping. I had actually gone to sleep myself in my personal bedroom, but I was woken up by a knock on the door. Cecila had confessed that she lost her keyring, and I was quite irritated at her for it. So as you know, I gave her my personal keyring, and the elevator key as a replacement. I then went back to sleep. Right. Well, I was on cleaning duty in the afternoon. I went around to all the rooms on the 5th desk and cleaned them, just as I did today, finishing up around 3:30. I continued working at the bar until 8, when I took a quick break to eat, and I quickly cleaned up all the rooms that were empty. I could tell by the signs on their doors. Sadly, I can't remember which rooms I cleaned. I don't think I cleaned Gillian's room though. I went back to the bar and worked there until 2 a.m. That's when the bar closes after all. I think I remember seeing Galvano there a lot yesterday, but he seemed to be in a bad mood. I didn't say anything and instead I went to the captain's room to turn in my key. Of course I didn't have my keyring, so I was scolded by the captain, and as you know, he lent me his keyring. So I'm around 2:30 a.m. I guess I went to sleep. Let's have a look at my journal. Oh, we've got floor plans. Okay, that might help actually. So, radio room, captain's desk. Blythe, room 505. hear you. I think we know who it is. Where is it? Blythe. Okay. She was boldly opposed to Eliza becoming the next CEO. Her story hasn't matched up, and I've pointed this out a lot. I want to believe I am placing my bets on it being Blythe. Well, that's that. Butler, you've had your fun for some time now, but it's getting late. Unless you've figured something out, I suggest we all turn in for the night. Let the police handle things tomorrow. What do you mean? This isn't over. I'm almost there. Then tell me right now, what happened to Mr. Goda? If you can't answer that, then it's proof you've just been wasting all of our time. Is that really the case? I can't. I hadn't seen Butler like this before. He's sweating, nervously shaking. Unable to accept that he still hasn't solved anything. He may enjoy detective fiction, but when it comes to the real solving, things aren't just so convenient. In real life, there's no guarantee that the case is solvable, or that enough evidence was left behind after all. That's right. If this was a conventional detective story, he would surely have deduced the answer by now. If this were a conventional detective story, he'd probably confidently reclaim the answer out loud for everyone to hear. However, this person, the one and only Detective Butler, isn't a conventional detective. I can't believe that the answer is so simple. What? You know who did it? Simple? How can that be? There was really enough evidence to solve it. Evidence? We hadn't found anything new. So did we really have the answer all along? Maybe I can check all the clues one more time. I flip open my journal. Okay, we'll flip open our journal as well. Oh, we can even see where their rooms are. Donald, laundry, Cicilla, storage, elevator. Loading, dining hall, restrooms and family, gift shop lounge, elevator. Restrooms, sauna, elevator. Yes, there could be here 505. I really think that's the answer. I flip open my journal. Yeah, this thing's come in handy. I'd written down a list of all the clues so far. The contract, the photo, the keyring, everything Butler found. The rooms, my father's dying message. We still hadn't made sense of it. But it's the only clue he's still left behind. The one clue which might lead to something, but I can't figure it out. That's right. We have all the evidence we need. You ready to hear the truth? Go ahead, I'm ready. Firstly, remember that the note Galvano left you this morning, Gillian? Gillian, I'm sorry that I haven't been listening to you. I'll go talk to the company members about it. Be back by 2 p.m. or 2, GG. That note I found in my room in the morning. I took it with me just to be safe. You know that saying, even a broken clock is right twice a day? Get it now? I'm totally lost. You calling me a broken clock or something? He said be back by 2 a.m. No. Take a look at the note again. I snatched the note from his hand and read it again. Right, it's directed at me. My father apologised. And he says he'll talk to the others and be back by... Wait, are you really saying that? Bingo. There's a chance he meant to say 2 a.m. instead of 2 p.m. Wait, what does that mean? Why would he write a note saying that? Yes, indeed. Why would Galvano pick 2? Why not 12 to take Gillian to lunch, or 6 to meet him for dinner? It's
because Galvano meant 2 a.m, the same time the bar closes every night. In other words, since this note said he wanted to talk to you all, he was killed after the meeting that took place last night, before the bar closed at 2 a.m. However, now that we know what happened after that meeting, I can prove I know who killed him. But first, I'll have to remind you all of 2 things. First, when we checked the security system earlier and looked at the timestamps, did you all notice Galvano hadn't used the door once today? It was all Cecilia. So one could easily assume that Galvano entered his room last night before the clock struck midnight, wouldn't they? Now, according to Howard's alibi, once the meeting had ended, he and Blythe left the room together. Galvano stayed behind for a bit. That's right.
Yes, those 2 did leave before him. Right. So what does that mean?
Second, Howard also purchased a pocket watch at the gift shop. He claims it was broken during the meeting, which means it must have been midnight. That's what the clock reads. The moment he broke the watch, Galvano hadn't gone back to his room. And had Galvano opened the door afterwards, after midnight, it would have been logged by security. Because we never saw that log, we know that Galvano never returned to his room. And the reason why is because he was murdered before he had a chance.
Can you really say that for sure?
Just to be safe, can we really eliminate the possibility that Howard lied when the watch was broken? As I said earlier, even a broken clock is right twice a day. If it wasn't broken at midnight, then the only other chance would have been at noon, but at that time he should have been with Eliza for lunch. He showed me the watch just before noon. The hands had already stopped moving before then.
So what? Howard could have simply set the time to the watch whenever he wanted, and conveniently smashed it afterwards. There's no way to tell.
And for what reason would Howard destroy a pocket watch he just bought to frame someone for murder he didn't even know about? And you're still not off the hook, Captain Jackass. You see this? This document that Gillian found in the basement. It's your grandfather's will. So I'm well aware of what's going on between you and old MacDonald over here.
What?
That's all made up.
There's nothing going on. His will? I've never seen it before. But what's it got to do with me?
The ship was supposed to go to your family, but Jack claimed it for himself, instead breaching the contract. He should have told you about it, but I wonder what he said instead.
Jack, you said that the ship was rightfully yours. You said it, so I believed you.
It's because of the truth behind the incident 50 years ago. They weren't killed in an elevator at all. His grandfather killed them himself. Exactly. And that's just what I was about to mention. Jack was aware of those deaths and used it to set up a nice ghost story. The elevator was never haunted, but because Galvano died there, Jack had to cover it up somehow. So you're saying I tried to cover up Golda's death? Why would I go to so much trouble? It's absolutely ludicrous.
You'd have a lot to lose if the media found out about the contract. If they found out Galvano died on your ship,
they'd eventually dig deep enough to uncover your own scandal. And considering he's a famous CEO, that's highly unlikely.
Even with that kind of reasoning, you can't prove it.
Wrong. There's one way to prove it, and it's through the reconstruction of the closed room.
It wasn't me. I didn't do anything with that key. Same here. As I said, I never got a chance to see it.
Exactly. And we have here is a liar's paradox. Just think about it a bit. If Donald is lying, then how did he get the key into the room? Surely this old man who can't even walk properly without a cane couldn't have possibly used the balcony door, nor could he steal the only key from Cecila's pocket. And if Cecila is lying, then she had no motive to let Gillian into his room, or place the key at all for that matter. And all that key does is incriminate her. No sane person would place it there. Well, I'm not entirely sure she's sane either.
Hey!
Oh, things are getting spicy. In conclusion, they're both telling the truth, which means we need a third option. And that is where Captain Jack comes into play. If Cecila never lost the key, and Donald never had the key, then it's only logical that Cecila had never had the key either. But in other words, Captain Jackass fed us all one big lie. No wonder he wanted to wait until the police showed up. He wanted to frame the maid for murder. Does that mean he's the killer? No, just an accomplice. After all, Jack has no motive to kill. His only motive is to cover up the murder because he had something he wanted to hide. The contract. After the murder took place that night, he found out and locked the elevator. He thought of a few ways to conceal the crime and decided to frame Cecily. That's all. I'll say it now. The real culprit is Blythe. I said it was probably her when we found out she lived in room 505. But why? What? But I told you I had an alibi for the time of murder. I went right back to my room. And then what about this receipt I found? I see. Because the time was 12:07 and they both left the room before midnight, which we know thanks to Howard's pocket watch. Not just that, but she left that bit out of her testimony. Are you sure you went directly back to your room last night? The receipt says you ordered some vodka from Cecily at the bar. That sounds more like it. Oh, right. I told you I felt sick this morning. What's wrong with getting some vodka real quick before going back to my room and drinking it all? I simply forgot, that's all. Nothing unusual. What's wrong with buying vodka, you ask? It's the murder weapon for one thing. It's what? We found lots of glass near the corpse, and from the wounds, it looked like he died of blunt force trauma. Probably isn't much of a stretch to think it was a glass bottle. It could be anything, right? And just because I got a drink doesn't mean anything happened. Actually, I remember now. Galvano showed up at the bar so many times yesterday, but remember now that I saw him with Blythe after midnight. And I didn't actually see if Blythe went into her room or not. Our rooms are in opposite directions, so I wouldn't have known any better. It all makes sense now. But to think that he'd been dead the whole time. You're lying. You're just bluffing to pin it on me. Galvano stayed behind. You didn't. Instead, you went to the bar, and that's where Galvano also went, apparently. Then you murdered him in the elevator. Jack found out, and you two decided to frame the poor barmaid. That's one big accusation. You recklessly assert that we're behind it all, but you still have yet to solve the closed room. If Cecily didn't place the key, then who did and how? It's impossible for anyone but her. I've figured it out. Before we do it, I've figured out the locked room murder now. If it is Blythe, Blythe is the one who found the key on the bed. So would it be wrong to assume that Blythe had the key on her the whole time? And Blythe took it out her pocket, placed it on the bed, then picked it up off the bed and said she found it there. Let's see if I'm right. Easy. Blythe did. Both Jack and Blythe are left speechless. When you all found the key, or rather, when Blythe herself found the key, she didn't really find it. She had it the whole time, given it to her by Jack. Get it now? There's no other way for this closed room to work. That's just mindless theorizing. To place the final nail in the coffin, that dying message that appeared on the floor to look like SOS. No, I get it now. It was meant to read as 505, which is Blythe's room number. Looks like I was right. So it was a shortcut to finding the culprit's name. I should have thought about it a lot more. Case closed. Good game. I think it's about time you come clean now, don't you? I'm curious which one of you attacked me during the ghost tour. Afraid I'd investigate the elevator, find the corpse too soon, and reach the truth. Looks like I did anyway. Jack, tell him he's wrong. It's not true. No, you caught us. Everything happened exactly as you said. Why are you siding with him? Because I'm not a murderer. I merely had something I wanted to hide, but now that it's been exposed, I have no reason to go along with that plan. It's still a crime. Obstructing murder from being solved, I mean. Clearly it wasn't. You solved it just fine, right? It's a little convenient that the video evidence was destroyed, wasn't it? He wanted Cecilia to get the blame, but she isn't the killer. Neither Blythe nor I planned on Golda's death. We each had a common goal. It wasn't planned? That's right. It wasn't planned. Blythe collapses onto the floor. Shortly after, two of Jack's men approach her, lifting her up by the arms. Tie her up. There's some rope in the basement, and keep her locked up so that she won't be able to run away or hurt anyone else. Wait, I didn't mean to. It's not my fault. Then please, explain it. Tell us the truth. Every last detail. Let me say first that I never wanted to be a murderer. I know how cliché, right? But it's true. I believe that we're all murderers at heart. Only the unlucky ones chosen by fate actually get punished for it, so I'm simply unlucky. It's what happens when people get pushed to their limits. When you reach that breaking point, it only becomes easy to forget your humanity or any sense of compassion for others. In truth, I reached that point long ago. It was only a matter of time before I acted upon those instincts. Perhaps that's why I had no passions, no goals, and no dreams. I was content enough to pay the bills, and that was that. Some might say there's something wrong in my head. I don't know if that's true. I just know that I often don't get along with people, nor do I think as most people would. Anyway, I digress. All I can say for sure is that I wanted something, and I felt I had no choice to earn it but to earn it through hard work. That's what they always say, right? You can do anything with enough effort. I graduated from university with bachelor's in applied mathematics. Somehow I excelled at that subject, and I heard it was good money, so I thought to myself, why not? Afterwards I landed several nice jobs until I found myself working for GG. My old employers always praised me for being so intelligent and dedicated to my craft. When I found out I was going to be working for such a wealthy company, I anxiously awaited my first day. Galvano Golda, the man everyone looked up to, yet at the same time feared. Yes, everyone, at least in my department. Of course, back then, the only boss I had to worry about was the previous chief financial officer. But even she was afraid of Galvano. After a few years of working, I was unexpectedly promoted to the position of CFO. I wondered what had transpired between Galvano and my boss. She was a really nice woman, so it was surprising to hear that she was fired. I spoke with her in person at a local bar. I loved going out to drink, and she explained how it happened. A new recruit named Eliza had just been promoted to CTO, although she was terrible at her job. I wondered exactly how she could have gotten such a high rank, but then my former boss told me. She's a manipulator and exploiter, and just charming enough to make you forget that's who she is. Galvano needed that kind of person in his life more than anyone. I asked the boss how she knew. Apparently Galvano had been having some breakdowns at work, and his personal life was no secret. He couldn't stop talking about his deceased wife. He never said anything about Gillian, not until recently. I can only wonder what changed him. Now I know. Eliza did. So for myself, once I began to work in my former boss's place, the reason I succeeded her was because I was dedicated to my job, and I stood out against all other employees. I didn't get distracted easily, and instead I focused on the small details. Elijah and I worked together quite often, and I was able to get a look into her psyche as well. She's one of those girls who act all nice around men, but can't stand it when women show her up. And that was my problem. It's not my fault that I'm dedicated and know how business works. I mean, that's why I went to school. I didn't graduate to become someone who acts like an idiot, expecting people to forgive them every time they make an amateur mistake. No, my goal was to become someone respectable. Someone people could look up to and say, what a smart person she is. Well, I guess it's too late for that now. After all, you caught me. I was honoured to be invited on this cruise, I really was, but behind the scene, we all suspected Galvano was going to say something important, because he kept talking more and more about Gillian and less about his wife. I saved the company from bankruptcy. I'm the chief financial officer. That's my duty. The one who invested in plans that made no sense. That was Eliza. She blamed everything on me. But I wasn't alone. Howard understood my problems, but he also understood Galvano's as well. He was really good at that, I'll admit. Truly an honourable friend, and I'm happy to have met him. Deep inside of me, the one I hated was Eliza, but the only one who could silence or punish her, Galvano, was on her side, and so my anger was directed at him instead. No, I didn't set up an elaborate scheme to kill him. It was all an accident, an intentional accident, where just the right circumstances led to his death. It was almost midnight on the first night of the cruise. Oh, thank you, sweetie. Couldn't be me who's beautiful. I think you've got the wrong person. It was almost midnight on the first night of the cruise. Oh no, what did you do? Lol. It was almost midnight on the first night of the cruise. Galvano had brought us all to Eliza's room for a meeting. I'm sorry, we're having this unexpected Rip. Don't do that then. I'm sorry we're having this unexpected meeting, but I can't let things slip by unnoticed any longer. What's wrong? I thought the cruise was supposed to be something relaxing. I can tell you're nervous, Galvano. Seriously, what's wrong? It doesn't have anything to do with the financial situation, does it? No, it's about Gillian. Gillian? I think it was obvious that I was planning to do here. The trip wasn't only a celebration for the company's financial success, it was also the company's future. So you're passing the company down already? It makes sense. Why else would you bring Gillian along? True. That is why I brought Gillian here. I'm sure you all thought it was odd, since he hadn't met any of you before. He's a nice kid. You raised him really well. We had all expected to hear Galvano's trademark laugh right about now. Stranger, he said nothing and looked down. Is everything alright? Come on, what's wrong? You can tell us. Nuts are hearts. There's only one problem. Gillian refuses to accept it. I foresaw as much. It looked like you two weren't getting along lately. We haven't gotten along in years. Not since his mother died. I was hoping to change that, but in the end I failed. I only made things worse. Again, Galvano is plagued with intense guilt. He puts his hands up to his face, about to cry, refusing to show his tears to any of his most faithful employees. But that's all beside the point. What do you plan on doing now? I don't know. I can only think of passing it down onto one of you. The whole room fell silent. All of you are my most trusted employees. It's only because of you three that I've gotten this far myself. Planned on passing it down to Gillian so he could live a good life. But he doesn't want to accept it. Appointing one of you to leave my company is an immensely difficult choice. And that's why I all called you here today. Hopefully we can sort this out before it causes any trouble. Do you really need to retire?
You can keep working, right? Oh my god, stop clicking that button. I'm getting old. I think I'm losing my golden touch. We had such a close call with Jack's grandfather. If it wasn't for Blythe's insight, we would be bankrupt right now. Thank you. So I think it's only fair for the company if someone else takes over. As your best friend, I would be honoured to take your place. No offence, but you're just as old as Galvano. If age is a factor, then there's no way you could be the next CEO. I suppose that's true. And it comes down to Elijah or Blythe, doesn't it? Still a difficult decision. I believe I have worked at the company long enough to understand it. Elijah has only been here 2 years. She still has much to learn. But again, if age is a factor, Blythe will be passing the company down in no time at all. What's that supposed to mean? No, there's only one factor that matters here. Then what is that? I love you too, sweet Drago. Mummy loves you all very, very much. Trust. Who can I trust to keep my company intact after all I've done? He knows me and my values enough to guide the company in the right direction. That person is Eliza. You're letting her be the new CEO? Even though she's the reason we almost went bankrupt? I don't know what you mean by that. Because of that incident, I realised how important my family is to me. If that hadn't happened, I might think wealth is all that matters in this world. But she lacks the skills to lead. Putting her in charge would sabotage the company. I would be a much more suitable candidate. Galvano, maybe this is too hasty. Perhaps we should save this decision for a more appropriate time. Still, it's my company, my decision. I have faith in Eliza. Now then, this meeting is settled. Eliza and I have some things to talk about. But you two can go. Galvano quickly dismissed the meeting, and both Howard and I left the room. I was left in the empty hallway. I saw Howard returning to his room, but of course I was not in the mood to sleep. The bar was a place for me to collect my thoughts, and all the cliché goes, drink my sorrows away. I thought maybe that there'd be a nice guy I can meet over there who would take all my problems away, and be attractive and charming just like that captain guy. Of course, what was there except a bunch of other washed-up losers looking for a drink as well? Either that, or they'd all go for girls like Eliza, not me. That's how it always was. Alone. That's all I'll ever be. I dug myself into a hole that I couldn't get out of. Where was I to go from here? Once we got back, what would I do? This was my big opportunity and I blew it. I glanced over at the barmaid. She was cute, clumsy and looked a lot younger than me. I'm sure guys would be all over her, but me. I needed something to drink. I asked her for the strongest vodka she had, my personal favourite. She said to me, "You look like you've seen a ghost." And somehow she ended up talking about some stupid ghost tour scheduled for the next day. I didn't really care. I was at the end, my final breaking point. Not only had I failed, but it felt like I lost an entire war. Eliza had won. She had been given control of the entire company. 1, 2, 3 shots. I had to keep reminding the barmaid I wanted more, since she was so bad at her job. But she couldn't have been as bad as Eliza, so I didn't make a fuss about it. There was no longer a point in holding it all back, so I drank and drank until I couldn't see straight anymore. The last thing I wanted was that witch as my boss. Tired of that barmaid's insane rambling, I asked her for the bottle to take back to my room. She complied, and I was soon on my way. Until I bumped into the man himself, that is. Yes, he decided to come and apologise to me in person. "Blythe, I'm sorry. I was a little harsh back there." He looked at the vodka bottle in my hand. "So you did come here after all. I figured you weren't so happy about what happened. Seems you were right for once. But you know what? You're still wrong about promoting Eliza like that. You don't get it, do you?" Am I supposed to get something? I know I must have hurt, but I stated my reasoning. Reasoning? Since when was the last time you reasoned anything out? I pop open the bottle and take a few swigs just for show. Go ahead and tell me where I've gone wrong then. She seduced you. Isn't it obvious? How could you deny it? It's always the latest gossip. I drink more and more of the bottle, as if it's some magical charm to help me win the argument. That's a bold assumption. Is this some personal vendetta against Eliza? Or am I the one you should be getting mad at? Good question. Maybe both. Look, you're not in a good condition to be talking about this. Put the drink down and get serious. Ha! And you're one to talk. Can't even see that Eliza's been duping you into thinking I'm the troublemaker here. Screw it. Screw it all. I walked past him pacing through the corridor of the hallway. My mind wasn't entirely there, although at the same time my mind was speaking the most of it had in ages. Hey, Siege, you twat. How are you, sweetie? Yeah, I'm winning actually, Siege. I managed to figure out the murder before the game told us. Now hold on. What do you mean she's been duping me? All that stuff about the company going out of business? Yeah, that's her fault. I don't have the papers with me, of course, but do you really think I'd land us in that mess? Me, with my skills? She has no reason to lie to me. In my half-drunk state, I leaned against the wall, unintentionally pushing the door for the elevator. No reason. I bet I can think of a few. You've been so obsessed with finding a replacement you can't see her past her facade. A replacement? No, you don't mean my... Of course I do. See, I was right. I knew it all along. I trusted her. Are you telling me I was in the wrong decision? The elevator door opens and without a second thought I stumble inside. Wait, hold on. The elevator enters the elevator as well, and the two of us alone. Oh, facade. Okay, shut up, Seed. Just after the doors close, separating us from the outside world. You might ask at this point. Ooh, the sneezers are back. You might ask at this point what exactly happened in that closed room. I don't remember it well enough myself to tell you. I was too drunk, that's all I know. The world became a blur, my thoughts became reality, and I took Galvano's life into my own hands. I must have hit him with the vodka bottle, must have shattered, and whether or not I thought he'd survive, I kept hitting him. Over and over. I hadn't noticed the dying message, not at all. Hey, Pat. Love you, sweetie. You're a very, very naughty boy from Mommy. Very naughty, sweetie. And you have a redeem. Ha-da-da. Ha-da-da. Ha-da-da, Labby. Okay. I hadn't noticed the dying message, not at all. I wasn't in the right state of mind to have understood it anyway. All I could think of were my inner feelings, my hatred for that man, and the opportunity I was given to unleash it all upon him. Ada, ada. My sweet little children. And that's how it all happened. Blythe and I had been talking for the past hour or so. Not only Blythe had been talking, I remained silent, listening to her story. By the end of it I was speechless, not because I was shocked or surprised about what I heard, but because the story had been such a simple one to tell. Were the only people here, excluding the bodyguard watching over her. Butler said he had to do something before the ship's docked, and considering he solved the mystery, he had no interest in hearing her motive. That's it, huh? That's why you killed him too? Right. I've confessed everything. Are you satisfied? I feel strange. No longer angry. A bit of me feels sorry for her. But overall, I also feel relieved that my father's murderer had been found. Despite that. Despite knowing the killer had been caught, and knowing why and how she had done it, I can't help but feel something is still missing.
I'm sorry. I can't bring your father back. I can only confess to my crime and admit the truth. Deep down, that's all I really want. But I know it won't happen. That isn't how life works. Or death, rather. I should be happy that you're locked away, but now I feel sad. Because my father's death could have been so easily avoided. Both of you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. We're all people. We all make mistakes. That's all this is, a mistake or a misunderstanding. I had made so many mistakes in the past. My father had made mistakes as well. And those mistakes ultimately led to his death. However, that was Blythe's mistake. I'm sure, just like me, she wants a second chance. I'm sure deep down she would have rather not killed him. Suddenly, the bodyguard standing near Blythe puts his hands to his head, adjusting his earpiece. He nods his head intently before turning to face me. That was the captain. We've arrived at the docks. He's ordering me to guide Miss Calico upstairs. All right, then. Oh, if Jack's in on this, do you think him and Miss Calico are going to run away? Because technically, Jack's also a criminal. And he's not going to want to go to prison. So, what happens if they both escape? I think they're going to try and escape. The guard grabs Blythe by the shoulder, standing her up from the chair. Both her arms are still tied behind her back with rope. She's been tied up and locked down in this dark and dirty room for hours like a caged animal. Is that really any way to treat a human? Some people say that when you're hurt, it's not the action that matters, but the intent. But you do great adas, Mummy, because your voice is so cute no matter what. Thank you, sweetie. Even if someone hurts you, if they didn't intend to hurt you, it's possible to forgive them. Even if she is a criminal, even if the end result is that my father died, she didn't have any malicious intent. It was, according to her own words, an accident. She was a bit too drunk and a demon's won over. Yeah, that's all it was. It was impulsive, spur-of-the-moment killing. She hadn't been pushed so far under so much stress. It shouldn't have happened. Should I blame my own father for leading Blythe to her breaking point? Is it Eliza's fault for manipulating my father? Or is it my own fault for being so stubborn? In the end, I'll have to sacrifice someone. In a strange and twisted way, I can almost relate to Blythe struggling. She had wanted my father's respect and admiration, but no matter how hard she tried for it, she always fell short, and in her most vulnerable state, she unleashed her emotions in a reckless way. Blythe is only human. She's a fun person, a smart person, whom tragedy just happened to fall upon. Is it really fair to blame her for all of this? There were many cogs in this machine. She's simply the one that pulled the trigger. I can't help stand that kind of injustice either. Wait, untie her first. Huh? You sure about that? It's the least I can do to show she has my trust. There was an accident, right? You didn't mean to kill him, right, Blythe? Right? That's right, it was an accident. I wasn't thinking... Oh my god, he's an idiot. He's going to untie the murderer. Are you serious right now? That's right, it was an accident. I wasn't thinking at the time. And I'll forgive you. People make mistakes. Please untie her to leave her some remaining dignity. That's the least I can offer. The guard scratches his head for a moment. He's probably asking himself if that's a good idea. But it seems I persuaded him in the end. Takes out the pocket knife and slashes the rope apart. I suppose that's one way to do it. Thank you, Gillian. It's often very easy to forget that good people can do bad things. It could be your friend, your family, or even one day you. That's why it's always important to hear the other side of the story. I don't like it when people suffer, no matter who they are. Everyone deserves a second chance. That's the lesson I've learnt here. Suddenly I hear a sound of an enormous explosion, and I turn around to see what happened. It looks like one of the boilers were hit by something. Now the fire is spreading everywhere. Thank you for your cooperation, Gillian. Well done. Well done. Blythe held a gun in her hand, the same one I'd seen the guard carrying earlier. Speaking of him, he's lying face down on the floor. You nearly had me. I was locked up and cornered, but you let your emotions get to you once again, and you helped me escape. That's because I believed in you. It was an accident, wasn't it? Wasn't it? You'd really like to think so, wouldn't you? I can tell you for sure it was spontaneous, but I thought about taking out my frustrations many times before. I felt so sorry for you. I know exactly why you despised him so much, but above all else, he was making poor decisions for the company, and I couldn't stand that any longer. When the captain found me passed out in the elevator, he took me into his room. We came up with a plan. I paid him off to cooperate and pin the whole thing on that maid. You can't treat murder like some business deal. It's unethical to trade money for human life. She wants me to step aside, but I stand firm. The fire grows noticeably in size. The smell of burning, rusted metal reaches me. Why would you do that? I thought you were better than that. You're not really so heartless, right? Heartless? Oh, but I thought you wanted your father dead. Shouldn't you be thanking me? I bet you warned him. You warned him that one day this company of him would get him killed. The stupid Galvano. He should have listened to your son. What a stupid man. What a pathetic, hopeless man. A pitiful excuse for a human being. To work hard so long only to lose it all in the end. I won, Galvano. You're dead, so I won. Bam. Blythe flies backward and prepared for the sudden attack. The gun flies out of her hand. Don't ever say that about my father again. She tries her best to stand back up, nervously shaking in front of me. She looks timid, frightened, cautiously trying to distance herself. And that doesn't matter. No matter how far back she distances herself from reality, I press forward, shoving reality in her face. Don't ever say anything about him again, got it? I won't let you insult my family. Whether you like it or not, Galvano was an awful husband, a terrible father, and a tyrant of a business leader. You can't deny the truth. I'm sure that over time he felt awful about what happened to my mother. It broke him down, and our distant relationship tore him apart even more. There's clear evidence that he was trying to become a better person. He listened to me, decided to give away the company to someone he could trust, and learn from his mistakes. That's only what you think. Why would a man with all the money and power he could ask for something like that? Money can't buy happiness, and money can always be earned back. That company wasn't the only thing he made in his life. He also made me. Gillian. Blythe, you've taken someone away from me that I can never get back. This isn't money which you can promise to repay me later. It's my father, a human being, so I have no sympathy for the likes of you. If I had to listen to my father's story the same way I had listened to yours just now, maybe you wouldn't have been filled with the hatred to take his life. Whatever. All the evidence against me will soon be burned anyway. Go to hell with your father. Blythe quickly gets up and runs through the flames towards the exit. There's only one door, a single way to get out. Nothing is stopping her from leaving. I can't let her get away. Not after coming so far. I can't let her go. I pick up the gun she left behind. I drag the fallen bodyguard with me as I head towards the exit as fast as I can. Gillian, what happened? As soon as we heard the fire alarms off, we knew something wasn't right. Cecilia and Donald greet me at the top of the stairs. They must have been confused seeing me, of all people, carrying one of Jack's bodyguards up those stairs. Blythe shot a hole in one of the boilers to destroy all the evidence against her. Now she's trying to make an escape. Suddenly the man I'd been carrying starts to cough. He grabs hold of a nearby wall and stands himself upright. Thanks for saving me back there, kid. Usually people like me are just cannon fodder. No problem. Cecilia, could you do me a quick favour? I I want you to call Butler on your walkie-talkie and tell him to meet me out front. We can't let Blythe get away. Aye, aye, Captain. Blythe could be seen running through the ship's entrance across the loading platform. Although the ship had docked, no one had started disembarking yet, and the halls were filled with people. The sudden ringing of fire alarms only added to everyone's confusion. Captain Jack had promised us he had called the police, but I can't see any police cars outside. Was that a lie too? She's going to get away if I don't run any faster. As I exit the ship, I see her running straight through the car parking lot and up to her car, getting inside. No, she's getting away. Oi, Gillian, what the hell happened to you down there? Looks like Butler arrived just in time. I know you'll get mad at me, but there's no time to explain. Blythe's getting away and we have to stop her. Yeah, you're right, I'm mad at you. Between the fire and Blythe's escape, everything we worked for may soon be for nothing, but we still have a chance. We dash through the parking lot a short distance before stopping at my father's car. Butler pulls out a familiar keys and unlocks the door. How'd you get his car keys? Searched his pockets, of course. Figured these might come in handy. Still unsure of his plan, I get inside with him. He quickly starts the engine running. Oh, this stupid noise again. Before I know it, he got us flying at lightning speed, heading straight for Blythe's car. Listen carefully, Gillian. We're only gonna get one shot at this, so don't screw this up either. Okay? What? What do you want me to do? Before he can answer me, he makes a right turn, instead of continuing behind Blythe's car. What the hell is he doing? She doesn't know these streets too closely, being a tourist, but I know them like the back of my hand. This is a shortcut. If I time it right, we'll catch up to her car this way. What I want you to do is, once we get there, take out her car's tyres with that weapon you picked up. You mean you want me to fire this gun? I've never used a gun in my life. Well, you'd better figure this out. We've only got one shot at this. No, pun intended. That laugh. How much longer until she gets here? Any second now. Butler rolls down the car windows and I stick my head outside. It's so dark it's impossible to see, but I can't afford to mess this up. I'll be in trouble if I end up missing, or if I shot the wrong car. I wait a few moments longer as Blythe's car finally approaches. Butler makes sure to tell me when to fire. Do it now, Gillian. I know this moment will pass in the blink of an eye. Steady my hand and aim the best I can at the tyres of her car. Now I have to aim just a bit ahead of them, so when I finally shoot, they'll be in position. Here goes. Bang. Next thing I know, I see Blythe's car spinning out of control. Quickly crashes into the facade of a nearby building without injuring a single person. Butler pulls over to the side of the road and brings the car to a stop. He flings the door open and dashes towards the wreckage. I follow his lead. Before we can get there, Blythe's car door opens. She collapses onto the ground. She picks herself up one last time. Damn it! You two brats, you've ruined everything! Well, now, still trying to run from the truth, are you? Guess you hadn't learned your lesson after all. You think I'm running away? This is perseverance. Every obstacle in my path is just another test of perseverance. When you think you've been cornered, all you need is a strategy to turn the tables on your opponents. That's assuming you still have any moves left you can make. Even the best strategy is useless when you're one turn away from checkmate. At this point, you're no more than a lone king on a chessboard, trying to avoid getting checkmate by two rooks. It's only a matter of time until you lose. Blythe looked around for something useful in a last-ditch effort to win, but she can't see too well without her glasses. Even if there's something here that can help her, she won't be able to recognise it. After a few moments of silence, she realised it as well. There are no longer any moves she can make in order to win. Between truth and happiness, you can't have both. The truth was Blythe had been caught, but she didn't want to admit it. She tried to run from the truth. In the end, her attempt to flee only delayed the inevitable. Her only option now is to accept her loss. Good game. Good game. You fought hard until the bitter end. And I like that. But your time is up, so let's get moving, shall we? He throws Blythe into the back seat of my father's car and slammed the door shut. Although she tried to remain calm in front of the two of us this whole time. From the corner of my eye, I can see her finally breaking down and sobbing.
Meanwhile, Butler and I sit on the hood of the car as we wait for the police to arrive. Probably shouldn't be much longer considering all the commotion we've just caused on the way here. Finally, at long last, our day comes to an end. It's been 2 days since the murder. Yesterday we spent all day with the police, but due to the large amount of evidence Butler had gathered, we didn't need to stay for very long. The fire hadn't reached above the first deck. It was put out, so the crime scene remains fully intact. Either way, we'll get called back here once again for Blythe's trial. But for the time being, we can all go home. So here we are at the airport. Aldo's reading the newspaper. We managed to get the headlines already. It's going to be a nightmare once we get back to New York. Everyone will keep asking me questions about this incident, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Eliza is writing in some documents she took out of her luggage. I can see the GGN billing on them, so the papers must be work-related. I guess she's not taking any chances slacking off now. That's right, Eliza was appointed the new CEO, wasn't she? With all that commotion about my father's death, I'd completely forgotten about that. She's going to have many more responsibilities than she did in her previous role. She looks a little bit nervous. I wonder if she'll make a really good successor. I see you hydrate. Hey, Gillian! Cecilla can be seen running towards our group. She trips and falls on the way over. Cecilla, are you okay? Don't worry about me, I'm just here to see you off. Thanks, it's good to see you again too. It's the least I could do. I'm really sorry about your cruise was such a disaster. I can't imagine you had a lot of fun. It probably wasn't much of a vacation. Now you already have to go back. Well, I wasn't expecting much in the first place. Although I doubt anyone here could have expected what actually happened. Believe me, there are a lot of fun places around here. Maybe you could come back sometime and I can take you on a tour. Sure. I look forward to that. So what are you planning to do once you return to New York? My father helped me enroll in a big-name university, so I feel like I should at least test the waters. So once summer is over, I'll start my year at university. Hopefully I'll have a degree when I'm 22 in 4 years. Wait, you're only 18? It seems she only now realised how well I do at the bar. What about you? I mean, what kind of plans do you have for the future? You heard about what happened with the fire, right? Yeah, it burned through the basement and the first deck. Right, and you know what was down there, don't you? The boilers, the engines, the supply room and the laundry room. It's not going to be inhabitable for a long time. So what are you going to do? Suppose I'll have to find somewhere else to work. I was thinking on my way here, maybe I could become a flight attendant. Looks like it could be fun. That means Donald will be out of a job too, won't he? Yeah, but Donald wants to retire anyway. He told me the incident was too much for him. He nearly had a heart attack when the ship started going up in flames. That's understandable. The ship was to go to his family and now it's not even usable anymore. I'm sure I'd want to forget it ever happened too. And Captain Jack still hasn't been found, has he? Yeah. No one's seen or heard of him since the ship docked. In fact, when the fire alarms went off, the whole crew tried searching for him. It was assumed that he might have died in the fire. But we did notice yesterday that one of the lifeboats had gone missing. Isn't that kind of strange? So it's possible that he faked his death and escaped after all. It's not though he's guilty of murder, but he did act as accomplice. So there's not much we can do. So I hope the police are able to do their job and find him. Eliza had been silent the whole time, occasionally looking up from her paperwork. She probably wanted to engage in our conversation, but she must have had some important things to take priority. Hey, Gillian, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's something important Howard and I need to ask you. Sure, what is it? As you know, your father appointed me the next CEO of the company. The process is going to be rather lengthy, especially because of his sudden and suspicious death. But if this is really going to happen, I'll need your signature. You're his only surviving relative. There's no other way to transition to work unless you're okay with it too. When Galvano was still alive, he had the legal authority to transfer the company to Eliza. But since nothing was ever done while he was alive,
There's no legal proof of that transfer of power anywhere. In other words, you're going to inherit the company no matter what. The best you can do is sign an agreement to hand it over to Eliza, but that's entirely your own decision. No pressure, right? I won't be mad if you tell me otherwise. It's your company now, and you can run it the way you would like. I see. Yeah, no pressure. This decision was actually pretty significant. I hadn't realised it at the time, but what they were saying was true. If Eliza was to become the CEO, I would have to be the one to give her that power. The question was, did I want to give that position away? After everything that happened, I'm in a better position to understand what my father had truly wanted. Perhaps it wasn't so bad after all. I had already told Cecilia I would be attending school. But with my father's vacancy, I could opt to skip higher education and go straight into the workforce. Okay. You sure you'll be okay with whatever I decide? Promise. I want to give it a chance, but I'm not nearly prepared to be CEO right now. Howard, you knew my father for so long, known him better than anyone else. I'd like it if you could teach me how everything works inside the company and teach me whatever my father wanted. That I can definitely do for you. And Eliza, until I am prepared enough for that role, I'd like you to have you in charge. My father trusted you, so I will do the same. With a mature response, I'll make sure the paperwork is sorted out that way. Also, Cecilia, since you're going to be looking for a new job anyway, I'd be willing to hire you at GG Inc. Really? But I'm a maid, I don't know anything about life insurance. That's fine, I'm sure we could train you. It's not like I know anything either. That sounds promising. Maybe you can show me around New York then. Aww. We continued to talk until our flight had been announced. It was time to start boarding the plane back home. That's our flight number, isn't it? People are forming a line. Yeah, our flight's been called. You'd better move out, Gillian. I grab a hold of the carry-on luggage I had set beside my chair. Well, this is it. Let's stay in touch. Yeah, I'll see you later. Have a safe flight home. The three of us head to our designated seats. Howard offers to let me sit by the window. I set my luggage beneath my seat and look outside. Excuse me, what fucking plane lets you have luggage under your seat? You fucking bullshit. Has to go overhead. Sorry, I've been on too many planes. After a few minutes, the engine starts up. There's that sound again. Speaking of engines, Detective Butler had mentioned something to me just before we parted ways. It was just after our confrontation with Blythe as she attempted to escape custody. Listen, Gillian. You remember when I told you to take out that gun and aim at the tyres, right? Do you recall actually seeing the bullet hit the tyres? It's too dark to see. I just assumed that's what happened. Why else could her car have spun out of control like that? I was shocked I managed to hit it so accurately on my first try. Take a look at these tyres with me. She won't get away, not with the cops watching her right now. Come on, just real quick. Okay, I'm looking. I don't see anything at all. Well, that's the problem. There are no holes. The tyres aren't flat. I didn't even see any bullet marks on the car itself. Then what happened? Butler points to the hood of the car. Smoke is rising out of it, and the hood is popped slightly open. I had seen something like this before, hadn't I? From what I can tell, it looks like a homemade bomb. All you need is some cleaning supplies, and it's easy to make and create. Who would place a bomb in her car? Who could have done it? I'd say we've had enough sleuthing for one day, or at least I have. About that, I'll have to find some way to repay you. You've done so much to help me. I had fun, and that's payment enough. Unless you're willing to share some of your big corporate cash you've got flowing in your bank account. Sure, I'll come up with something. Let's stay in contact. Sounds like a deal. And if you run into any other interesting cases, ring me up and I'll be there. Right, because you want to write all about it in the Lighthouse Chronicles, won't you? Nah, that whole thing was a lie to get some VIP seats on a cruise. I'm just a stay-at-home detective who likes to go on misadventures. Sneaky bastard. Finally, the plane had taken off,
and we're now sitting comfortably in the blue skies. I kind of got bored looking out the window, so I opened my carry-on luggage to search for more interesting use of my time. And I found it. A golden age mystery novel Butler had given me as a parting gift. He said it was about a pair of brothers who were murdered in London. Both of them had been found in supposedly impossible situations, but the truth was, of course, much simpler. When Butler gave me this book, he told me that the authors of the era wanted their readers to be able to find the answer before the detective. The back and forth between the two in a world of games, so Butler challenged me to find the answer the author had hidden between the lines. But before he left, Butler told me one more thing. Sure, it takes a real detective to find the answer that the author had hidden. But an even better detective, do you know what they can do? They can find answers that the author had never intended. Do you think you can find them, Gillian? Like to see you try. Well then, Detective Butler, I'll give it my best shot. Now looks like we played that one then. Seems like this one's over then. That was actually a really good story. Oh. Bonus content unlocked. Oh yeah, there's a DLC. So. Question is, what do we do now? Let's see. What we could do. What we're gonna do is download another visual novel. Give me a moment.